इस सेगमेंट में हम एक ख़ास गुफ्तगू करेंगे। हमारे कुछ मेहमान आए हैं इलेक्शंस कनाडा से। उनके साथ आज जो सबसे गर्म खबर और पिछले काफ़ी दिनों से चल रही है वो ये है कि इंतखाबात होने वाले हैं कनाडा में और उसके लिए अलग अलग तैयारियां लोगों ने की है। लेकिन आप वोट कैसे कीजिएगा, कैसे रजिस्टर कीजिएगा, ये बहुत बुनियादी सवाल हैं जो जवाब लोग ढूंढ रहे हैं जिन सवालों के। इसके लिए आज हमने इनको दरख्वास्त की थी। हमारे साथ रिटर्निंग ऑफिसर हैं निर्मल कायला साहब और इलेक्शंस कनाडा की एजुकेटर हैं तसीम कौर साहिबा। आप दोनों स्टूडियो में मौजूद हैं। आइए एक ख़ास गुफ्तगू इन दोनों से करते हैं, इनको खुशामदीद करते हैं। सत श्री अकाल जय अनु, निर्मल जी एंड तसीम जी।
सत श्री अकाल जी, नमस्ते।
And we discussed off air that since I'm not a Punjabi speaker, I do speak Punjabi, but it's not very nice, and there's a risk of me embarrassing myself on there. So
I share that risk with you. I speak Punjabi, but the level of Punjabi is up for debate.
We're all in the same boat.
Okay, all three of us are in the same boat. But Taseem ji understands a little bit of Hindi, and Nirmal ji understands English. So we are going to use a mix of three languages. I'm going to ask you some of the questions in Hindi and you can respond in Punjabi if you think it is okay. The first question that comes to everyone's mind is, how does one register to vote? Kaise kare?
Well, there's many ways that you can register. The easiest way is to register online at elections.ca. It's a very smooth process and very easy to follow through. You can also come into our office. We have offices throughout the Lower Mainland. You can put in your postal code at elections, and it will tell you what office you can go in and register at as well. Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yes, very easy. So ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਵੈਬਸਾਈਟ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਔਰ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛ ਕੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ elections.ca ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਰਜਿਸਟਰ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ। ਨਹੀਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਆਫਿਸ ਹੁਣ ਖੁੱਲੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ 28 ਤਰੀਕ ਤੱਕ ਖੁੱਲੇ ਹੋਣਗੇ। ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਆਈਡੀ ਲਾ ਕੇ ਰਜਿਸਟਰ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ ਨਾਲੇ ਫਿਰ ਪਤਾ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਵੋਟ ਪਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ।
तो एक तो ये होता है कि whenever elections happen, वोटिंग कैसे फेयर करें, फेयर एंड इक्विटेबल प्रोसेस कैसे हो, तो आप इसको कैसे इंश्योर करते हैं?
There's a few things that we do. We're really focused on that. Our main focus is to make sure that anyone that is eligible to vote, and that's 18 plus and a Canadian citizen, has the ability and is able to vote. So we're very big on making sure that the voting process is fair and that all our voting sites are accessible. We follow a 15-point list to make sure that accessibility is important, and that includes not only accessibility for our able-bodied community, but also in terms of different languages at different polling places. So if you are in a polling place where there's a heavy Punjabi population, you should expect to have Punjabi-speaking poll workers at that station to help you, guide you through that.
Okay.
The other thing that we also do is you can ask for assistance to vote. So poll workers can help you process your vote. And you can also bring family members or people that care for you to also help you and assist you to vote.
Can you get devices with you, like cell phones and all of that, or do you leave them at your home or in your cars?
You can bring cell phones to be able to show identification or proof of registration. That is an option that is employed currently right now.
But then do you keep the phones outside when they go inside to vote? How does that work?
I think it's there's not a hard and fast rule. We prefer that there's definitely no picture taking inside the polling booths.
Okay. So no more selfie and Insta reels like, okay, I just voted.
we at times do have a selfie station outside the polling place.
Okay.
But when it comes to coming inside, there's no video or no picture taking.
Okay.
As soon as you step out, it's totally fine.
It's totally fine.
To commemorate the moment.
So
I just want to add on to that. In Punjabi ਵੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਉਣਾ ਆ ਹਨਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਖੁਸ਼ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆ ਕੇ ਵੋਟ ਕਰੋ ਤੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਕਿਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਸਮਝਾਉਂਗੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲੋਗੇ ਹਿੰਦੀ ਬੋਲੋਗੇ ਫਾਰਸੀ ਬੋਲੋਗੇ ਤੇ ਨਾਲੇ ਜੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਅਸੀਂ फ़ोन ਤੇ भी कर सकते हैं।
ओके, well that's great. तसीम जी ये बताइए कि मतलब जब लोगों को बताना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, समटाइम्स वी टेक दीज थिंग्स फॉर ग्रांटेड। हमें लगता है कि अच्छा अरे वोट कर देंगे, आ गया रजिस्टर कर देंगे, बट लोगों को वोट करना है, दे नीड टू गो आउट एंड वोट. That's a very basic thing that sometimes we overlook. So how do you educate people कि मतलब कैसे वो करें, क्यों करें वोट?
Hanji, so we noticed the importance of bringing information to people and especially youth at the civic education team. So ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ voting is habit forming. If you start young, the younger you start, the more likely you are to continue. आदत पड़ती है. So what we do at civic education is we create resources for teachers to use in classrooms at schools to support and educate young people on the history of voting, on the current processes of voting, and it comes with full kits of how to use and educate and support young people in how to engage in democracy. We know that elections and voting aren't one part, they're simply one part of how you can participate in a democratic society. So offering insight into the history of voting or other ways to participate is really our job.
I'll add three things, specific points to that. And we have three specific programs to encourage voting and to not only say what we're doing, but actually do it. So one is we do go out to all the long-term care homes and seniors' homes, and we provide voting options for the residents there, including acute care hospitals as well. And we do have a Vote on Campus program. In my riding, which is New Westminster, Burnaby, Millardville, we will be at the Justice Institute and at Douglas College as well to allow students to vote and encourage. And the third point I want to bring up, and I did want to end the interview with this later on as well, is we do encourage students that are 16 plus and Canadian citizens to apply to work at the polling places, to really understand the election process and be part of the process. So to Taseem's point, because when you start early, you start to see how the process works, and it encourages you to tell others and to vote for yourself as well.
On polling day, what are the things that people need to think about and take care of? कि documents लेके आएंगे साथ में, कौन से documents होंगे, ID papers वगैरह वगैरह. What are the things that they need to, like, is there a checklist that they need to maintain at home that, okay, I'm going to get this if I have to vote?
Sure. First, general voting day is April 28th, so thai tarik ke chote mahine. And what we encourage is have a plan. Have a plan, right? Have your identification ready. You need to have a government ID, government the Nishan driver's license, something with your picture, address, and name on it, or your voter identification card. The voter identification card that we will mail out to you starting next week is the most efficient way to get into the polling place. It tells you where you're going to vote, and it will assist you with the hours, locations, and times, so you can bring that with you. And with another piece of ID, if you don't have a government-issued ID, you need to bring in 2 pieces of ID. And we do have a list on the website as to what those 2 pieces can be.
If somebody has a bank statement, let's say, does that qualify as an ID?
It does, as one piece, but you still do need a second piece.
Okay. Agar first कीजिए somebody goes to the polling station and remembers, oh, I didn't get my ID. I don't have any ID on me. How do they vote? They are Canadian citizens.
Yes. So I want to go back to your listening audience and say, have a plan. That should not happen, because it just makes the process longer. But there is a vouching system in place. So if there's a neighbor there that knows you, they can vouch for you as long as they're on the list of the voters and they have their identification. And so they can vouch for you and you can vote. But you do have to sign an oath, and all those are reviewed post-election to make sure there's no double voting and that the vote was accurate and it is someone that should have voted.
Okay. Checks and balances होते हैं बहुत सारे प्रोसेस में, लेकिन उसमें ख़तरा भी रहता है कि कभी-कभी अब्यूज़ का भी ख़तरा रहता है. It's a difficult job for all of you, I understand. But how do you ensure that, मतलब vouching is, I understand, मतलब somebody, again, on that, should the vouching happen only in person, or can it also happen over phone? Like somebody calls and says, oh, I vouch for this candidate.
The vouching happens in person.
In person.
In person,
Okay.
yes. You can vote by mail in this election, and you have to put in the information at elections.ca, or you can come into an office and you can get a kit. But you do have to provide all that information, and it is all reviewed before the vote is counted.
And if they need more information, you just mentioned the website. If you could just repeat that. For all voting procedures, particulars, Is there a website that they can go to?
Our website is amazing.
Yes, ਸਾਡੀ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀਆਂ ਲਈ Elections Canada, elections.ca ਤੇ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ and
Taseem, if you can speak closer to the mic.
sure.
My producer is telling me that they
elections.ca.
can't hear you. Yeah. Elections.ca.
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
वहाँ पे जा करके लोग डिटेल्स ले सकते हैं. um, 2 pieces of ID, कोई भी हो सकता है. गवर्नमेंट इशूड ID नहीं है तो there's a whole list that people can check उस वेबसाइट पर जा करके. Mailers भेजे जाते हैं to encourage people to vote. Do you have vehicles that go out and publicize it? Do you have slogans that you coin to encourage people? Yes, I'm from Delhi. In the Delhi elections, whatever new movie comes out, I remember in 2010, Dabang had come. Kya tum ho Delhi ke Dabang? That's a voter registration system that they did. Here, you don't do it that way, I believe. But how do you like publicize this? Taseem ji, if you can just.
Sure. There's many ways that we engage with
Mm-hmm.
the public in presenting information. So one of the ways that I personally interact with it is going into schools.
Mm.
And we have registration drives, recruitment drives, in which we promote information on elections, the process and election day, and also ways to work at the election. So there's only 2 requirements to apply to be a poll worker, is that you're over 16 and you're a Canadian citizen. So it's a great opportunity to get involved. If you're going to vote, why not work as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a good volunteer experience that students can acquire.
It's actually all paid. Every position is a
Okay.
paid position.
Wow.
So even
Yeah.
better.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, so the pay starts at $20 an hour.
Wow.
Up to 27, depending on the role you do at the polling place.
Hmm.
The other thing we do to try to encourage voters is there's a lot of options. So there's advance polls the weekend before the 28th as well, over the long weekend. So you can vote on those days as well. I talked earlier about the Vote on Campus program, which is the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday before the advance polls open. Then that long weekend's all advance polls. And then we update the list of electors for final voting day, which again is on the 28th.
यहाँ पे एक सवाल मेरा है. In fact, I just saw this because I got this message a few days back where there's an agency which is collecting information, and now I see that it's all over the news as well. People are, in fact, I'm not the only one. A lot of Canadians are getting these text messages where their voting preferences are being asked. Now, some people would obviously mark it spam and junk it. Some people who don't know what's happening, they feel tempted to respond, and in fact, there's one user, and CBC has reported on this, that she gave out her preference, and then she got a message back saying, "What is your address?" She didn't suspect much. She sent a reply again, giving out her address. Then they responded asking, "What's her name?" And that's when she got suspicious. Why is my name being asked? No polling agency really asks for your name, or any marketing agency really asks for your name. Why is it happening? Are you alarmed by these reports? And if you are, then what steps can an average Canadian take the moment they receive a message like that? And what steps can you take as Elections Canada? Do you take at all, or what is it that you do?
I would start by saying that we would encourage them all to notify Elections Canada that so we can further investigate through our headquarters in Ottawa, Gatineau, around what is taking place and try to gather some general themes. But overall, I think that we're immune to what everybody out there is in these days with respect to spam and people trying to get people's personal information, and it's a serious thing that's happening all over these days, and Elections Canada is no different to try to prevent that. We do make sure that we keep our personal information secure, our electors' information secure, and we only share it with what is in the legislation that allows us to share it. And also, no one should feel intimidated, and no one should be giving out personal information to anybody inquiring about their voting preference. like they would for anybody else calling them for their information as well. So I think everybody needs to be cyber aware. And but yeah, it is a challenge for Elections Canada, just like it is for any other entity or company out there.
एक और सवाल यहाँ पे बनता है because this thing keeps cropping up every time there's an election. कि फेक वोटर्स आ गए, फेक वोटर्स आ गए, फेक वोटिंग हो गया. वीव सीन एक केस भी हुआ है BC इलेक्शंस में, रिव्यू के लिए एक केस गया भी है एक राइडिंग में, where the losing candidate thought कि वहाँ पे कुछ मैनिपुलेशन हुआ था. लोग अपना राइडिंग बदल देते हैं, इल्ज़ामात लगते हैं कि भाई 2 हफ्ते पहले इलेक्शंस के आपने अपना राइडिंग बदल दिया, आप जाके खड़े हो गए वोट करने के लिए. तो हाउ डू यू डील विथ दिस menace? And all these of course allegations are subject to investigation, but are you concerned that these kind of frauds can happen and do happen? If yes, what are the strategies that you combat this with?
Well, of course we're concerned, and we do have a lot of things in place, and maybe we can start with working backwards from once a vote is cast, it is secured in a ballot box, and that ballot box is not open until election night, and there has to be 2 people there to count that. So there's no single counting. So 2 people are there to witness the vote, and candidates representatives from all the different parties that are running in that riding are welcome to watch as the vote is counted. You know, federally it's a little bit different than provincially because it is a hand ballot. So they can stand there and they can watch the votes being counted. And if there is any votes that are up for controversy, they are set aside and they are looked at separately.
Okay.
In terms of voters coming in, you know, identification, the voter identification card, the need for government ID is our first stopgap to making sure, right, that you are a citizen, that you have government ID, and that you are eligible to vote. And we try to weigh that against our mandate to make sure that we allow Canadian citizens to vote, right? So, and not prevent them from voting when they are eligible to vote. It is a fine balance. And from a security perspective, checking things after the vote as well as when someone comes in to verify their address are key factors that we use to make sure that the people that are eligible to vote in the area they're eligible to vote in do have an opportunity to vote.
आखिर में, because we are approaching time, आखिर में ये बताइए कि what is it one thing that you would like to tell our audience why they should vote? क्यों important होता है vote करना?
Well, I guess for our South Asian audience, when I was asked to do this, I thought back to the 100-Year Journey book, where the fight for Punjabi and South Asians to vote was a monumental step in moving society forward in Canada. So, you know, कि आपने पहला आए सीगे हो कितना जोर उन्होंने लाया सीगा भाई अपने लोग vote करना. And that resonates with me. But I think more importantly, you said it a couple of times, what are we doing? And it's really what we are all doing to make sure that the vote is fair and people have the opportunity to vote, and we keep Canada moving forward as a nation where people have their democratic right to vote and the ability to vote and accessibility to vote. And that's the most important thing, is we're there to make sure you can vote, not to stop you from voting.
तसीम जी, आप कोई स्लोगन देना चाहेंगी कि वैंकूवर के दबंग क्या करें?
I mean, we study the history of voting in Canada.
Yeah.
The where it started off and where we're at with the secret ballot and how widespread. In 1867, only 11% of the population was allowed to vote.
Wow.
And that was restricted to men over the age of 21 who owned property.
Yeah.
And आजकल 75% of people in Canada can vote. So that's 18 and older and a Canadian citizen. So it's a lot of the journey of where we've gotten. So however you want to express how you want to see society changes, that's how you, this one way is to use your vote. It's to use your voice.
Yeah, your vote is your voice. आखिर में कोई नंबर वगैरह कोई एड्रेस आप छोड़ना चाहेंगे जिससे पब्लिक कोई सवाल अगर आपसे करना चाहें तो वो कर सकते हैं?
Yeah, I can share my phone number. My direct line is 250-351-4837. If anybody has any specific questions, they can reach out to me, and I'll try to get back to them as soon as possible.
निर्मल जी, तसीम जी, बहुत शुक्रिया आप दोनों का कि आप वक्त निकाल करके स्टूडियो में आएँ और इस बहुत अहम मौजू पर आपने आपने ख्यालात ज़ाहिर किए.
Yeah, I just want to, an ending saying, if you are a Canadian citizen over 16 and you want to work the elections, we encourage you to apply at elections.ca and as soon as
$20 per
possible.
hour.
And yeah, and we'll find a role that fits for you. And the second thing I do want to reinforce is plan ahead. Right, there's a lot of opportunities to vote, advanced polling, final voting day, but please make sure you plan ahead. That just makes it easier on everyone. Shorter lineups, more preparation, make